Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. I'm your host, Sean Grammer, here with me as usual, Mr. Mark Morrison.
Howdy.
And this is episode 471 of the podcast. And, well, we're going to do as we're getting to the end of the year-ish stuff here, and start doing our report cards for 2025. And might as well, we're going to start with Sony here and the PlayStation. And then, of course, over the next couple of weeks, we'll do Xbox and Nintendo as well. And also, we've got some other news with Xbox having their partner preview. All of some other things going on, some rumors about the Steam machine and what it could cost. Ubisoft actually doing well after they had some kind of bad reports that there could be some nefarious things going on with why they're not reporting their stuff. And we'll get into all that. Plus, Marc's been playing some Once Upon a Katamari. So we'll discuss all those things and more right after this.
You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
All right. Well, it's also my birthday tomorrow, so I turned 39. No idea what's happening. As you get older, I start get to the point where I don't really care about the birthday stuff. Especially because the one thing that I really want, it's as we'll talk about here, it's kind of expensive. So
we all want Ava Green, let's be honest.
No. People were still thinking about Ava Green in 2025. Okay. Is she still doing movies?
Yeah, but it's a lot lesser quality now.
Okay. But yeah, so aside from that, also you can check us out live on Mondays. I'm trying to make it around 6:30-ish. Today I was waiting on my boss to, decide to have us. We're changing something there at the job. So I was like, and then at the end, after having me wait like 20 minutes, to tell me, oh no, I can wait till Wednesday. So we had to start late, but it's all right. You can watch us live on the YouTube channel, WTO Network, also on Facebook, WTO Network, on Kick, WTO Network, Twitch, WTO Network. So wherever you want to watch us there, you can watch us live, or you just watch us later on demand on the YouTube channel, where if you subscribe, follow, all that, hit the notification bell, you not only get what we do here, but also you get our other shows, which if you like anime, be sure to check out the Otaku Cafe guys, as they do a great job reviewing all the seasonal anime. So they're deep into that fall season right now. Go check them out. And you can also find us all on podcasts. Just search for the individual shows. And Ralliton Broadcasting, which I'm sure will be doing their Wicked Part 2 for the Good, is the subtitle, I guess, for that movie. They'll be doing that review here shortly later, or you can just catch that on demand as well, wherever you want to check us out. And yeah, so I guess that's enough with the housekeeping there. Let's go ahead and start the show as we normally do with what we are playing. I haven't really been able to play too much this week. So I will go ahead and cede things over to you, Mark. You said you were going to get a new game, and you did. Once Upon a Katamari. How's that treating you?
Good. I think I bought it, let's see, Thursday? Maybe Wednesday. I picked it up at like 3 p.m., went shopping, got home at like 5, and then rolled credits at 2 a.m.
Oh, nice. Is that short, huh?
Well, I mean, it's decently long, but it's Katamari. Those aren't like the deepest games, and like it'd be like hard to fail at some levels, pretty much. Okay. I didn't like 100% the game. I just finished the story. So yeah, it's what you would expect. Get more Katamari. It looks a little better than the last few, but you know,
Hey, I mean,
so it has this like time traveling gimmick, which is fine, I guess. Like the only kind of like really notable one is it goes in a really cool ice level where like your Katamari gets like a bunch of icicles stuck in it, which you can like climb up walls, which is kind of cool. And there's like a Wild West level or like setting. That's about it. The So what I don't like about the game, like I still like it because it's it's always Katamari. Like it's hard not to
yeah,
like. They In one of the previous games, they introduced a Prince Hop, which is like a jump. They took that out. I'm not sure which game they introduced it in, and which I don't know if it's like only like one game thing. But some of the stuff is kind of you're collecting is kind of like in the air, which makes it kind of hard to get. And they introduced power ups in this game. Like so, there are 4 power ups. There's a radar, which is useful to like help you find like the hidden presents or the you can collect crowns in the game. There's like 3 per level, or like the cousins. So the radar is pretty useful. There's a magnet which lets like the Katamari become magnetized. It'll pick up stuff around like that are like similar size. That's useful. There's a weird time slow like pickup which freezes the action for like 10 seconds. You're still rolling around, but like the action is just frozen for like 5 or 10 seconds. And the last one is this weird rocket boost thing, which makes you go like really fast, but you don't have great control, and you can't go up vertically. So it's like this is not useful.
yes.
What else?
How's the music? The once a
Good.
Katamari
It's
games always
not
have
the
awesome
same.
music.
But they have a few good tracks in it. Like I know the DLC is like all the old like Katamari 1 probably music, 'cause that's what everyone gloms onto. Let's say the crowns kind of gate progression. Like at a few points in the game, it was like, "Yo, you need more crowns to unlock the new level." It's like, okay, I guess. I mean, uh, s- some of the more annoying parts of Katamari are still relevant in this game. Like it can occasionally get snagged on shit and just you can't get out of it easily. So you're just like wasting time in like a narrow corridor, or you fell off a path, or you fell off something and now you're stuck, you know, trying to get your way out of it. Which is That's always been kind of the thing, and I kind of wish they'd solved for that problem, but they never will. Getting people, I think it's like part of the weird charm of that game, but it's like this is not fun. uh, and there's a lot more levels that are like more gimmicky shit, like pick up all the icicles in that one ice level, or one level you can only pick up sweet items, and if you picked up like non-sweet items, your ranking would go down. It's like, okay, I guess, but I just want to pick up everything, you know?
Hey, that doesn't hurt at all. I mean,
Right.
they kind of want to give you, I guess, kind of goal to go for there on that.
Yeah, like that's the other thing is like there's a lot of levels that are like roll up everything in 5 or 10 minutes or whatever, but then there are levels like roll up everything but be as quick as possible, or get it up to like a certain size. Uh, so I just gonna like half-ass those and just move on to like the fun levels. uh, what else? Yeah, it's more Katamari. I mean, you either like it or you don't. So
Yeah, that's always one of those games that I enjoy, like spending it's like few levels in,
right.
vibe with the music and do all that. It's like a
Yeah,
fun,
I mean,
just
I don't know if I
yeah,
should have marathoned it like I did, like just play it all. Or I didn't play it all because like that's the other weird thing is like you'll play a few levels and then it'll jump you to like a different era, and it's
yeah.
like, yo, I still had levels in the previous era I could be doing, like, And the way they had this, like the era set up, it's like you could go to like, ancient Greece or, ancient Egypt or dinosaur land or, whatever. And to like walk
Right.
around to the various levels, like, and like select them from like this like hub overworld system. And it's like,
Mhm.
why is this? I mean, you can't, there is a menu, you can access it, but like the menu would just be a lot easier to do this,
Yeah.
So I mean, thankfully it's in there, like it's just kind of hidden away, but because you like walk around, it's like this is not fun at all. But yep, I like it.
You didn't
I don't know
play
if I'll
online
100%
with
it.
anybody, you know that?
No, not yet. I don't. I probably won't. It has this like weird Katamari ball thing, or it's like a sport kind of where you like roll up and then you like they're like there's like a UFO that like flies around. And if you get to that, like you cash in like your Katamari's eyes.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can do it in single player. I just didn't find it that fun, so I was just like, I'll do it for like this one mission and then move on to the actual fun stuff.
Fair enough. I mean,
Yeah, it's 20. I mean, it's $20. So that's worth it.
yeah, I'm glad that they budget priced it as well. That helps a lot.
Well,
Being able
actually, I think
to-
it's the budget price is 40.
Oh, okay.
The Black Friday price is 30, and then I had a $10 gift certificate with Best Buy. So
Oh wow,
the
they
funny,
already had a Black Friday price on it.
yeah, they did that. Yeah, like last week they started. The funny thing is it wasn't available at the Best Buys near me at all. Like the nearest one was like 10 miles away. And I'm like, I don't want to drive all the way out there. It was like 13 miles away. It's like I don't want to go all the way out there to pick this up. But I could
Yeah.
have it delivered like a FedEx office by me, like 5 miles away. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll just do that because, and it was funny because like it only took 2 days to get to FedEx. Meanwhile, there's a Best Buy literally across the fucking street from this FedEx office picked it up at, and I was like, yeah, to get there in 5 days. I'm like, what? Like, why can't FedEx just deliver it to the? I mean, whatever. I'll just pick it up at FedEx.
Right.
But yeah, it's like that game is also like not sold in stores. Like I've never seen a copy in the wild. I mean, it might be at like GameStop, but like Walmart or Best Buy don't have it.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
At least, for the physical folks out there.
All right. I
Yeah.
mean, I'd rather get physical and have it be $20 cheaper than.
Yeah, I know that when they can give you a discount on the physical. That's what's always funny is like they used to say that digital is going to help out because they don't
Right.
have to pay the retailer and it's supposed to be cheaper, and it's like it still hasn't happened.
Right. It's only been 15 years since that promise, and I mean, you can occasionally get cheaper games, but a store or a company will always want to get like eventually discount shit to just get it out of the shelves or out of the system.
I mean, the only thing we have seen is like we'll see the especially with indie games, the like $2 or $3 discount that you get if you pre-order it, or for you to try to buy it in the first week that like Steam and the Switch do.
Right.
They do it on the other stores too, technically, for some of them, but yeah,
But
it's
even
a
like
big indies thing for sure.
yeah, but even like the big AAA games, it's like this will eventually go on $20 on Best Buy or Amazon or whatever because they just want to get it out of here.
Yeah, of course.
Or Metal Gear Solid. I mean, it's $30 right now for Walmart's about like Friday price. I'm sure it's at least 45 digitally.
Right. And playing anything else there? Or?
Nope, not really. I mean, just kind of touching around with other craft.
All right, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
I guess we can go ahead and just get into the topics here. Lots of. At first, I thought there wasn't going to be that much news, and then all of a sudden, it's like, bam, deluge of stuff
Right.
over the weekend, and then today as well. I guess we'll go ahead and start here because it kind of leads into some of the. Of course, we talked about the Steam Machine last week. Strauss Zelnick had an interview with CNBC's Squawk Box discussing gaming, and he talks about console gaming in particular. He says, "I think it's moving towards PC, and business is moving towards open rather than closed. But if you define console as the property and not the system, then the notion of a very rich game that you engage in for many hours that you play on a big screen, that's never going away." What do you any comments to make from that, or just?
I mean, it's what you'd expect someone like him to say, because
It's interesting that he says that, and their biggest game, Grand Theft Auto 6, is not coming to PC, but
I mean, it's not coming to PC yet. That's the other game I've actually been playing is Red Dead Redemption 1, still on like my PC, and
okay,
hey, look how long that game took to get on PC. But
yeah, or on current consoles for that matter.
Right. But believe me, GTA 6 will hit PC. I mean, it's not day and date, but it will hit it for sure and be the number one selling game on Steam for months, probably.
Oh, I'm sure. Especially once you could do the mods and do crazy stuff in the game.
Right. I guess it really depends on what they're planning with GTA Online. Like, if they're gonna do away, like they're not gonna do away with it per se, but will they split the base, or will it be like some weird add-on for the current GTA Online, or will it just be like GTA Online 2?
Yeah. I would imagine that they will do their own because they want you to move over to it. Like it's gonna have its own like. I think they kind of want to get you off Grand Theft Auto 5, even though we'll talk about later, but it's still in the top 20 sales, which is ridiculous.
Right.
But they want to get you off of that. So I feel like it's going to have its own online for sure.
Yeah.
Because that'll be the way they can get you to subscribe and all that stuff.
So you're basically saying like online 2 or online Florida edition or something
exactly.
like that.
They'll still have the GTA 5 online. I'm sure they will get to a point where they will just either stop supporting it or just they won't provide as much content for it, depending on.
Hey, if they're still making EverQuest 1D content, I mean,
well, it's just like one of those things. Like I think GTA 6, they're like, it's one of those games where you're expecting everybody to move over, right? So I think they would expect things to wind down or whatever. I mean, obviously, that is a game you're going to have to buy if you haven't bought a PS5 or Xbox for that matter.
Right.
By then you will have to, because it's not going to come to PS4 or Xbox One. There are rumors that it could come to Switch 2. I don't know how, but
I mean, they claim that the Switch 2 is like comparable somewhat to PS4, or and if they dramatically scaled it down and took out the online, probably. I mean,
yeah, I guess they could get a playable version of it where it's just the game, no GTA Online. But then it's like also like one of those like, okay, then you're gonna get a hampered version of it. But if you can still sell it to all the people that only have Switch 2, which as we've seen with Nintendo consoles and with the Switch, there's a lot of people that only have the Switch or the Switch 2. So we'll see if it's big enough for that to be the case. But I'd imagine that they would introduce a PC version before get to that at all. Yeah,
I imagine the PC port will probably, it's not going to become within it's not going to take like Red Dead Redemption 1 time, like 14 years or whatever, but I'd say probably within the year, maybe even 6 months, depending on how far along it is.
To get back to his point, I do get what he's saying.
Yeah.
Right. And that, things are kind of moving towards, I mean, consoles are already PCs. Really. They just kind of have the their own like overlay of stuff that makes it to where they're kind of enclosed and you can't just download whatever you want. But yes, I think as we get into that next generation of they're the primary gamers or the ones they're going to try to appeal to that like the they're console agnostic. They're not they're more about, I want to play this wherever I want to play. And PC it makes that available to me. Obviously that's probably going to be another generation forward for PlayStation. They're going to keep doing their thing, as we'll talk about here with our PlayStation report card. But to kind of tie that in, because obviously the big announcement last week that we discussed was the Steam Machine, and Valve kind of they become the first ones to take that step into, oh, this is a PC that is now under your you can have this under your TV and you can play games on it. Similar to what Xbox, Microsoft want to do with their upcoming console. The idea was that one of the ways that Steam was going to be able to really knock Xbox off the any kind of perch that they might possibly have with that is that the Steam Machine would be somewhat cheaper because it's using tech that is comparable to the current PS5 and Xbox Series, even if a little bit underpowered from those. But according to two different reports, now one of these is sort of anecdotal, and the other one is from an interview with two of the people that worked on the machine, where they don't outright say that it won't be a console price, but they also kind of say that, like, yo, with the tech that's in here and what things cost now, we can't do that. We can't subsidize. So right. The first one that was going around, I think even I started seeing it before we recorded, but I didn't want to talk about it because it wasn't really being like put into the news. It was just, the typical Twitter talk. So this week people started picking it up and actually reporting it as news. This is from Linus Tech Tips, who is one of the people that went out to play the Steam Machine and test it and all that kind of stuff. And he was in the room with various Valve people, and he said, are you guys going to, especially considering that Valve owns Steam, they make 30% off every single game that gets bought off of Steam. Would you guys look at a console price for this machine? And they said, well, what do you mean by console price? And he says, well, $500. And it's like, where everybody just goes silent. And that's what he felt. He said the vibe was that nobody said anything. And it just kind of like the vibes all of a sudden changed in the room. And it kind of made you feel like, well, that definitely means no without saying no. Although nobody said no or yes or anything, but you can kind of infer things from that, right? SkillUp then interviewed on the Friends Per Second podcast two folks that worked or are working currently on the Steam Machine. Software engineer Pierre-Luc Griffet, I'm sorry if I'm saying that terribly wrong, and Lawrence Yang. And their thought on it is that the Steam Machine is more powerful than 70% of gaming PCs that Valve registers on its hardware survey. In terms of general GPU level, saying we have looked at the number as part of speccing the machine, so it's possible it's evolved a little bit over time, but I think the ballpark is about there. He says that fans should expect the Steam Machine price to be around the same as if you were to build a PC from the parts separately, essentially. So what do you make of that? Last week we talked about like maybe $600 for the 512 and maybe $800 for the 2 terabyte. Does that make you think it's going to be higher?
I'd say 700 and then 900 now.
Yeah, I still see people let's still see some people being bullish about it will be 500 or, you know,
If it was going to be
yeah.
500, they would have just said it's going to be the price of the launch PS5, and they didn't do that. So it's going to be more than that, obviously. You know, it ain't going to be cheaper. I mean, that's off the table.
Well, do you think they're waiting also because, I mean, still got time till 2026? A lot can change. You know, we'll talk about some things that are happening right now. Is there a possibility that that could somehow improve in the time that, you know, we roll around to whenever they are planning to announce a price to, you
what
know?
they'll do, they'll launch it expensive, and then if things do change, then they'll lower the price.
Yeah.
Like they have more adaptability than current terror situation or parts problems. So they can change quicker than the price of RAM going up and down.
Yeah, he says, furthermore, just to kind of add to this, he says, you know, Valve is not going into this thinking we're going to eat a big loss on this so that we can
Right.
grow market share or category, anything like that. No, it's more in line with what you expect the current PC market. Obviously, our goal is for it to be a good deal at the level of performance.
I mean, I can't even see this thing hitting 1,000, honestly. Like, well, for the expensive one,
Yeah,
just because of like the form factor itself. Like, this isn't a traditional like
right. And
console.
that's one of the things he brings up in the interview as well. Is like, yeah, you try to go buy PC parts and stick it into that little form factor that we have and get it
Right.
to cool right and do all that stuff and be able to play the things that we say we're going to be able to play on it.
Yeah.
You know.
So, yeah, I think people expecting or hoping $500, but like, good luck. Like, maybe in 10 years when there's another generation of this thing on the market already, then they'll drop this one down to be cheap. But
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's different times than when the Steam Deck came out, right? Where they could sell you the cheapest one for $400.
right.
I think that they just kind of see it as, well, what if, you know, because we got to think about it like this. This is not like somebody buying a PS5 or an Xbox. I mean, obviously, times have changed with that too, because you're bringing your PS4 and your Xbox One library forward with you. But the idea is that you're then going to buy Xbox Series and PS5 games, right? There's no guarantee that somebody buys a Steam machine and they're all of a sudden going to buy more Steam games, right? So what if?
I mean, there
Yeah,
partially is just because you're more in with the Steam like ecosystem, but it doesn't mean you're going to be buying new games necessarily. It's not going to. It's going to be like you're going to
well,
be
right, but
buying.
I think they're looking at it as the like, okay, a lot of people are going to buy this already have a big Steam library. They're just going to buy this to, you
Yeah,
know, have
play.
another way to play their games.
Right.
And maybe you're not subsidizing it won't really help you because you're just losing so much that you won't make that much back in the software like you would normally with you know, consoles.
Yeah.
So I could see that aspect of it. I've also seen, you know, talk about like, well, what if big companies just go on a buying spree with the Steam machine and use it to mine shit like we've already seen with AI or whatever instead, which then also doesn't help Valve at all either if you sell it at less than whatnot. I think
Right.
that's a smaller, if that even happens, that's a really small um, thing for that. But you
Yeah.
know, they have a good point. Like, look, this is Valve. We've seen PC stuff already come out, and look at the ROG Ally. You know, ROG themselves or ROG themselves are saying that they are actually having to increase production of the Xbox Ones because they got to meet demand. You know, those have sold more than they thought, and they're talking about the more expensive one, not the cheaper one.
Right.
So I think they could technically get away with selling that 2 terabyte one for. And remember, you're talking about adding 2 terabytes of memory, so that automatically puts it at $100, $150 more than whatever the 512 one is going to be, because you're talking about almost doubling the memory. So,
Well, yeah.
well, like I guess 3/4 or whatever,
Right.
a third. So like you're looking at it like that, and yeah, they could charge $1,000 for that thing, and people will still buy it. And there's gonna be a less quantity probably of people buying it, right? You're probably gonna knock the casuals out that you could tell them, oh, hey, buy this, and you could technically have a PC and play all these PC games or whatever that you won't be able to do with the current consoles, or you'd have to go buy a laptop that will probably be most likely more expensive or around the same,
I mean, honestly, like the biggest problem as far as like the Steam machine is getting it into people's hands or showing like why it's useful, because have kiosk and Best Buy or anything.
Yeah, that's another thing too, is if they're not looking at bringing this into retail stores at all, that's another reason why they're not going to subsidize, because they know that the only way you're going to see this is if you're already somebody that's online,
right,
looking at gaming stuff, or you're constantly on Steam looking at the Steam front page or something like that. So, I obviously we still got time until when that comes out, but
they should
yeah,
they should sell it in Microsoft stores.
right. And what do you think about? Do you think any of this? There's rumors going around from Taiwan's UND that AMD may raise the price of its GPUs due to memory costs.
Yeah, because look at the price of RAM right now. Like it's going up.
Yeah,
because stupid data centers need it. So
yeah, due to contracts with data centers and AI, which that could also lead to raising console prices again.
Yep.
And according to Moore's Law is dead, which this is a rumor. This has not been said by anybody within Microsoft or whatever, but according to him, that Xbox did not really, Microsoft did not really just go out and buy a bunch of RAM to try to kind of beat that price increase, or the fact that things are costing so much, to make sure they can put that into the consoles. But obviously, again, Microsoft doesn't really. Honestly, Microsoft would rather you just not buy the consoles anymore.
Right.
So, whereas he's saying that Sony kind of looked at it and said, "Oh, let us go buy a bunch of RAM because we got to keep selling these consoles." In fact, they're selling, they're doing $100 discounts on all 3 versions of the PS5 for Black Friday. Whereas, I wonder if Xbox is even going to do anything like that. Because again, they don't seem to care whether you buy the console or not anymore.
Right.
But do you think
sure
all of that has the opportunity to also kind of like make sure that we're not going to see them subsidize the Steam machine at all? Where,
yeah, like if they expect out the Steam machine to have $50 worth of RAM in it, and now the RAM is $130, or it's like what? Like,
yeah,
let's
somebody's going to eat that cost.
Yeah.
Right.
And it probably is not going to be Valve, or it won't be like Valve majorly. Let's say that. Like they can
for sure
eat some of that, but not all. They'll just pass it on to the consumer, or they could always. I don't think they ever would, but they could always adjust the price of games on Steam, or what their take is, instead of 30%. Be like, hey, it's now 35.
yeah, I don't think they would go that route, because 30 is such a just
it's a nice
industry
round number.
standard thing.
Yeah.
Of just, I don't know that. I mean,
but here's the thing: is like I Valve is a company, but they're a private company, so they don't have public shareholders to grouse about, or they're on their own pretty much. So it's just the same. It's like if they could eat all the cost, and it ain't gonna damage Valve like in the long run, because they're a multi-billion-dollar company. Like, but it would generate a lot of goodwill. I
No,
don't think
yeah,
they'll do it,
definitely.
but like I just think of it like public versus private companies. Like look at how Ubisoft is crumbling into the ground because they're like private but also publicly owned, and they have to like deal with like shareholders and them complaining about crap. Like, thankfully, Valve doesn't have that problem, so they cannot put out a game for 15 years and no one cares.
Yeah, as we talked about last week, there's rumors going around about if Half-Life 3, especially if you're going to introduce Half-Life 3 to the world, like, I don't think you need to subsidize
Right.
the Steam machine for that, but also it's like, because that's going to be a driver to get at least the, our age of gamer into possibly buying that thing.
Right.
But, still, you could also play that on whatever, if you happen to have a more powerful computing device at that point, you can also just play it on that. So
the problem with like Half-Life 3, like it only appeals to people of a certain age, and that's like,
oh no, for sure, yeah.
I mean, your daughter's not like of age, but like if you had like a 17-year-old daughter or 17-year-old son, and you're like, hey, Half-Life 3 is coming out, they're like, what's that? Because Half-Life is it's a 20-year-old game. Basically.
Well, it's also very PC centric. You can't even buy, if you don't have the orange box, you can't even play those. So,
and imagine giving your daughter's what, 13 or 14?
14,
I think.
yeah.
Imagine giving her Half-Life 2. Be like, hey, this is the apex of gaming 20 years ago. She'd play it for 5 minutes and
yeah, she would have no idea
off,
what that is,
and go back to Roblox or go back to something on her
exactly.
phone. So I think like it's all like the internet, all the old internet people are like, oh, Half-Life 3. It's like, yeah, the median age of that is 40.
Yeah, exactly. That's for us, and like my brother who's like Generation X, like 8 years older than me.
Right.
That kind of age range of, not to I mean, those are obviously the people that are buying games.
Yeah.
The people in my daughter's age and a little bit older, they're still probably not at that age of buying, if they're doing that at all, because you can play so many free to play things.
Right.
That's just something it's going to be interesting what they wind up doing. But all this news is not great for people that are trying to find deals and want things to come down in price. When you keep hearing this kind of stuff, it's another thing that, like, you keep hearing about, like, oh, AI this, and AI is such a driver of the market right now, but then it's like you keep seeing that, like, it's just AI companies or companies that are wanting to do AI keep investing in each other.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I saw some really, I mean, every comment he makes is dumb, but an especially dumb comment from Elon Musk. I don't know what it said, but it said pretty recently, like, oh, I envision AI is going to, replace thousands of workers at their jobs. And it's like, okay, what do those people do then? Like, there's not thousands of replacement jobs, like, what do they all, become farmers? Like, I don't think so.
I mean, that's also an issue, right? You're seeing so many entry-level jobs just get destroyed by AI already. Not to mention what that's going to do if this keeps proliferating and getting even more. But the fact that, like, this report from Moore's Law is Dead, which is on his YouTube channel, whatever, that like 40% of this is all due to the AI data center contracts. So, yeah, man, this isn't great. And it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. So I still find it really hard to believe the whole idea that the next PlayStation is going to cost $600, unless they just put like no memory in the thing and go, yeah, we did the 5, we're going to put 512 in there. If you want to have more than that, you go and buy your own. And there's no disk drive, and and you want all that, it's extra. But hey, we made it $600, so there.
Right.
You know, it's because at the end of the day, that's what people are going to remember. It's not going to be that, oh, well, it's really not $600. It's, there's tax, there's
There's
this,
eight.
there's that,
It'll be $850 or $900 when it's all said and done.
Right. But what they'll remember is that, oh, MSRP says this. So,
Right.
that's, we'll see at the end of the day. What?
It'll be the PlayStation Tower of Power.
Yeah. There you go. Before we get to our PlayStation stuff, this is, as we talked about last week, they had just announced the nominees for the Game Awards. We've already had one of our, the one that usually has them the earliest, the Golden Joysticks, already had their awards ceremony this week. And just to kind of like interlude into that, Charlie Cox was nominated for not only the Golden Joysticks, but also Game Awards for his voicing Gustav in Clair Obscur Expedition 33. I always find it funny that he always like downplays that and just says that, like, dude, I did that for like 4 hours. I don't even remember what it was that I was working on. And it's like, oh, that thing. Okay, that was a game, sure. And then he goes on. I do find it like nice that he says like, yo, Maxence Carzorla, that's the person that needs to be nominated for this stuff because he did way more than me. Right? He's the one that did the motion capture. He also does the voice of SKA in both French and English. So like, give him the nomination, give him the credit. Don't give me anything because I wouldn't do anything. Obviously he can do that too because he's a more well-known actor. He doesn't really need this publicity from this game. Like, what do you think that he just shouldn't be nominated then if he's really not caring about it, or like?
Well, think about
Yeah,
it's not quite the same, but there are Emmys for
because I've seen other people say that like, oh, there should have been like there should have been 3 Clair Obscur spots in that nomination for the Game Awards. It should have gone to somebody else.
No, because, well, first of all, like, I think it doesn't really matter like the length of time he's in it. Like, he could be in it for 5 minutes, and who cares? People still get Emmys and for like guest acting in like a TV show for like an episode or something like that. So it's not like really a length of time. But also, like, he created a memorable character, or he embodied a memorable character. Let's say that.
Right.
And I feel like his character more than the Ben Starr character.
Oh, for sure. Like, they did a great job. I mean, like when you get to that moment in the game with Gustav,
right?
It is it knocks you out because like between Charlie Cox and the voice and the movement, the motion capture, they did a great job.
Because the game presents Charlie Cox's character as the main character,
right? Exactly.
So
yeah,
I mean, it's kind of it's a bait and switch, but it's not like a malicious one. They're not trying to like hide it necessarily. I mean, it's just part of the story. But no, like, I think he should be nominated. And like I said, I think of those 5 people, I think you could debate him or I think her name is Jennifer English, the girl.
Yeah.
Like, who does better? But I think those are the 2 front runners for me, at least.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and Ben Starr has been winning as well. Ben Starr technically also won when he did Clive, but some of them,
right? I mean, didn't he win the Golden Joystick one? So it's like
he won for Clive for the Golden Joystick, but he didn't win for Game Awards.
Okay.
Which makes you think that was sort of like a, people kind of said, okay, well, let's give him one for this as well because technically Verso was also in the game for a long time and whatever. So, but yeah, I mean, I put that in there to say that the Golden Joystick Awards had their winners already. Expedition 33 won quite a bit. They won best storytelling, best narrative, whatever.
Right.
and they won Best Visual Design, and won the Ultimate Game of the Year award. Ghost of Yotei also won like Best Console Game, which is sort of like the best exclusive, essentially.
Right.
And Best Indie Game went to Hollow Knight Silksong, which that's going to be interesting too. Is like if there was ever a year where I think you could have cut Expedition 33 out of the best indie stuff, it would have been this year. Like when you have so many other indies that you could have put in there instead. Also, Samfall won Best Studio, and Best Soundtrack and all that.
Again,
Yeah.
though, I don't agree with that because like I'd sooner cut Hollow Knight out of that like a best indie category because it's a sequel to a game that was already
Right, but I
massive.
mean, best.
Mhm.
Well, Hades 2 is also a sequel.
I'd
But
also be kidding that. So,
but I think the whole point is that like they technically have a publisher, right? Kepler is a publisher, and indie means you don't have like a big publisher like that. Even though yes, Kepler is not Ubisoft or whatever,
right.
but
Which
I can kind of see people's point there,
how bummed are they that they're not publishing this game?
right? How many stories have we had already this year of people that left Ubisoft and the
Right.
dispatch guys as well that we talked about last week of just like how people left Ubisoft, and that's the thing that's going to be interesting of if I don't want this to happen to any of them, but if this whole thing with Vantage Studios or whatever ends up leading to people being laid off, I wonder how many of those people will also go and create their own thing and then wind up having success because they were able to
Yeah.
kind of spread their wings a bit out of the Ubisoft system.
Yeah, strike it on their own and not be beholden to, like I said earlier, shareholders. So,
Yeah, exactly. Or whatever
like,
Ubisoft's
could you
whims
imagine?
are.
Yeah, could you imagine trying to go up to EA and going like, "Hey, I got a game. Start. I have an idea for a game. It's going to be a very French RPG about uh about like a fantasy world and all this other weird bullshit." They'd be laughing out of the goddamn room, you know?
Yeah, you're right about that. And also, you did bring it up. Mael won the award for best
Okay,
performance.
I saw. I don't
Yeah.
know. I didn't see that he won it, but I saw like Ben Starr made some big like speech at the show, going
He
like,
won
"Hey,
last year. He won the year that he did so he won best supporting,
okay,
and he also won the year that he did the Clive for Final Fantasy 16. So
right,
um yeah, but interesting that Silk Song also wins the best PC game of the year. It's like, all right, whatever. uh
I mean, there's not a ton of other PC exclusives out there. It's like that
yeah,
and
but Silk
like,
Song's not. I mean, that's the thing that's like weird is like you might as well just do away with, unless you're going to do something like Peak or Schedule One that was PC only,
right,
right? Like if you're going to really do PC only games, then I get it that you're kind of limiting yourself, but it's not like there wasn't a treasure trove of PC only games that came out, this
yeah,
year that did gangbusters, like Mega
right.
Bonk and all that too. So,
Well, yeah, but that guy just
yeah.
did you see what happened at the Game Awards with him?
Yes, that he renounced himself because he's not a debut indie. Which hey,
Right,
that's cool that he did that. Right? He didn't have to. He could have kept that quiet.
right.
Um, Even though I'm sure somebody might have actually kind of like ratted him out at some point. Maybe he was trying to prevent that of somebody being like, "Hey, yo, he's really not a debut indie." But
I mean,
this, yeah,
there are like gradations. I would say like I wouldn't say like Hades 2 would be like a debut indie, obviously, or even
right. No, it's not. Debut
but
indie
like
means this is your first game. That's why
right,
you're being put there.
right,
Um, Which, hey, to be fair, like that's the whole reason of why he's supposed to be there, and that's nice that he did that.
right,
Um, but you know, this that's great. We'll see what happens with the Game Awards in a few weeks. I'm sure others, the big sites will start doing their thing. Ours won't be until like after Christmas or whatnot till around then.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
watched a girl talking about. So she was on YouTube about like, oh, the Game Awards should be doing their awards stuff in February, and she brought up like for Indiana Jones, like Troy Baker getting a nomination, and she was like, oh
yeah.
yeah, I guess. I mean, it
And
came out in
Indiana
December.
Jones went getting for what I think it's an action game or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, oh yeah, that came out in December last year, but it fell out of their window. But like, no one, barely anyone remembers that game now.
Yeah. I think part of it is I wonder if that makes sense if this was only an award show.
Right.
But we got to remember that the major part of this show is the ads and the announcements, right? If you didn't have the announcements, you'd have way less people watching this show.
Right.
The announcements is how you can get the ads. The announcements is how you can get stuff paid for, right? For them to do the awards, to have all the people there, to do all that stuff, to be able to get on Amazon Prime Video, all of those kind of things is because you have these announcements that bring people in the door. And it doesn't work if you do that in February because why? Because January, February is now a big release window for games. So you
Right.
can't you need to be able to include the latest trailer for Resident Evil Requiem and whatever the next big game that's going to come out in January or February. Like you need to be able to include those, right? And also it's like sort of a looking forward to the next year. And if you do that in February, when you've already had a lot of really great games come out in 2025, or 2026, whatever, just using that as the next year. How many people are not going to care as much once you're already into the next year? And I think that's the problem too.
Also, the Game Awards can be a good like shopping list, a good like
Oh, perfect
yeah,
shopping list. How many people, especially the indies. Now, I don't know about the triple A's, how much it really affects them or not, but like, I remember back in the day, you put Game of the Year edition on something, and somebody goes, "Oh yeah, I'm buying that."
right.
Nowadays people kind of have their own. Let me look it up and all that stuff. But like when you have those December deals, and you could do a Game Awards centric, Game Awards winners, deals or whatever, and have a
Yeah.
big discount on those, that helps a lot. So yeah, there's a lot of drivers toward it. I understand what she's saying, and I've seen other people say this too, that it should be in January, February. But I think it just makes it to where it's like once you get into that next year, people tend to care less.
Right.
And that's why the Emmys are like right before the new fall season starts, right? Because you're in that realm of being able to honor what came before you start watching the new stuff. The Oscars is kind of weird because it's like movies are kind of like always
Right. But there's
on.
still like
Yeah,
waves or seasons of movies. So
right, exactly. So yeah, I do think that like this brings up a good point again about like should we start specializing the jury for the Game Awards? Like, should you be giving the fighting game like award to like let people that are really into the fighting game stuff be the ones that vote for that? Same thing with like RPGs. I saw a lot of people complaining about why is there so much like Obsidian having both of those games, which I think is fair. Like Outer Worlds 2 is much better than Avowed. And why does Avowed also need to be on there when it's like there's way more other RPGs that came out this year that probably deserve to be on there, Um, so I do wonder if like we'll ever get to that point where we'll start having specialized
I
votes
kind
for
of hope
that.
not,
Yeah.
honestly, because I wouldn't want just a bunch of like Evo fans voting on favorite fighting game because they'll pick Street Fighter every year.
Well,
But
I don't
like,
mean that, right? I mean, like, the people that are really into fighting games, that review fighting games a lot, you guys
I
that
mean,
review,
like imagine you having to review like best first person shooter, or you'd probably just say like no comment, or you just go like NA because you don't have a lot of, at least with like current first person shooters, a lot of familiarity with like the genre.
right. But I think
Same,
a lot of people are not doing that, though. That's the problem. I think you're getting
I,
people that are just
I,
voting on the first one that comes into their head. And
I think they might be doing it based on like whatever publication, or based on. Or do you mean like the critics or the fans?
no, I'm not talking about the fans. I don't. That part is obviously important in its own realm, but they're only
Yeah,
10% of the vote. I'm talking about the critics, right?
I would say like the critics would probably just look at like whatever their own publication or whatever, you know.
You would think that they would go to their like fighting game expert or their RPG expert, but there's people that don't have that, right? There are a lot of these that are small, and so or they're from other countries and they have other things that they like or whatever. Which I do think that that's good that we have. It's a global thing and not just it's only the United States and Europe or whatever. Um,
Right.
but even then, it's just like it does feel kind of weird where you have what was it like Marvel Capcom collection or whatever got put in as best fighting game, and like how do you not in a year where like you had Trails of the Sky first chapter come out and be like have 90 something on Open Critic and Metacritic and it's not voted in, but then you put in Avowed and Outer Worlds 2, it's like it feels like you're not going deep into that genre. But then again, like the more niche you get, the
Yeah,
less
like
chance that there is that people are going to have played that game because again, those critics can't all play those games, right? So yeah, it is
I mean, yeah,
interesting.
you like indies, but I'm sure you haven't played every indie this year. So
I haven't, but I don't disagree with the indie list outside of like they picked a lot of the major indies, right? Like outside of like I still believe Claire Obscure could have not been in that, and you put because there's so many great indies released this year, you could have put somebody else in there, but still, it won't really matter if Claire Obscure doesn't win those. So, um, but we'll see when we get to that. You know, just to keep on the PC train for a little while longer. Something that is interesting because as we see Roblox kind of go into this situation that they're in, where their CEO does an interview about something that's happening really bad with their ecosystem and just absolutely blows it. Um, and they're under fire more and more for the predatory aspect of Roblox and not so much in praising the games that keep coming out of that thing that keep just blowing up all the time, like we talked about last week, Grow a Garden has
right,
its own movie that's going to be in production. Fortnite is now going to have Epic and Unity join together to have more games be made inside of Fortnite, which is, again, that's them taking their shot at what Roblox is doing. And they have their own Epic creators, right? And then we've had Epic go and make, the Lego World and the Fortnite Festival and all that stuff. And like now this is basically essentially opening this up even more to where like the Unity developers can then go make games inside of Fortnite, and you have people making, playing games through there. And what do you think about this? I worry about, again, this is another taking chunks out of the other parts of gaming and then keeping people stuck in Fortnite instead of exploring outside of Fortnite.
I look at this as a desperate hail move on Unity's part because of all the backlash it got a few years ago with Riccatello leading the charge about like
Yeah, but they walked a
licensees.
lot of that stuff back, to be fair.
Yeah, but Unity still has
Yeah.
uh like I know a lot of those like developers change engines to Unreal, so
Yeah, they did. To be fair, yeah, that too.
like I don't think Unity is like going away necessarily, but I look at this as like them trying to save a little grace or
Okay, interesting that you saw it like a totally different than me. Like I kind of saw it as like this is Fortnite trying to take their shot at Roblox and be able to kind of like make sure that they fortify that part of it. They already have that deal with Disney, right?
Well,
And
also like the problem with that mentality is like you assume that Unity and or Epic or the Unreal Engine is like easy to work with, and it's not. Like I think
no, it's not. Yeah,
uh Roblox gets away with it a lot easier because it's a lot. I don't want to say dumber, but like a lot easier to use
it's
or a lot.
simpler. Yeah,
Yeah. So unless they make like the kiddie version of this, and it's not going to be like, hey, boot up Unreal Engine, make a game. Like no.
one, I think what it does is it opens up. Okay, so you can use Unity tools inside of Fortnite, whereas it was only
Right.
Epic's tools, right? So, like, if you're more averse to using Epic's tools and you know more about Unity, then you can make games in there. You can maybe you make something that blows up inside of Fortnite, and then you have like your own grow garden, right? And
Right.
so then you bring people in, and I don't know if they'll ever get to the part where they're charging people to actually like access these games, or just okay, they're all free and then you can do your own monetization or whatever with that. But I do kind of see it as a way of like, man, you already have people that don't ever leave Fortnite, they'll never leave Roblox. If this takes off, you have more people coming into it, more of that generation that's going to come after us playing games,
Yeah.
and they're all playing games there. And it's like, well, what do you do with the people that are making the indie games and the triple A's that are not being seen by those folks?
I could see it more like, hey, what make a game, but you can use any of your Fortnite skins or anything like that. Like then it'll really blow up.
Yeah, that could happen as well. But we'll see what comes the fruits of this. Obviously, I mean, this is kind of just the beginning of it. So I assume in the next year we'll start seeing games that kind of release out of that, and see if any of them, blow up in that, or become major hits out of that.
I This was a few weeks ago, but I heard listening to Jeff Gerson's podcast, and he was lamenting the Simpsons Fortnite thing
Yeah, that's all. Okay.
because he was just like, man, imagine if there was like a big budget Simpsons game, like
Yeah,
not
like they
Fortnite, but
canceled what, like Tapped Out, right?
that
So
was a while ago. But he like
yeah,
that was just a mobile game. Like he was talking about like the Simpsons game, like the based in the movie or like Simpsons Hit and Run. Like
yeah,
it's been, I think the Simpsons game was like 2007 or 2008.
right.
So it's
It's been a
been,
long time.
yeah, 15 years since like a big budget Simpsons game or like the Futurama game. Like that was 20 years ago, and that's like hard to find now. And it wasn't great back then, but it was passable. But they just don't do like licensed games like that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it is getting harder and harder, and I think that's why Disney made this deal with
Right,
Epic for Fortnite, was because it's like, okay, it's getting harder for us to outside of like Spider-Man and that kind of thing, of like releasing all this IP that we have.
right,
We got success with was it Marvel Rivals, but that's very slim chances that you're going to be able to do that with a lot of them. They've had so many failures, right, with
right.
Avengers and
So
other
yeah,
stuff. So
it's a
yeah,
lot easier for them to go, hey, just put King Hank Hill in Fortnite and call it a day, you know?
yeah. Put Jar Jar Binks have a whole thing based around evil Jar Jar Binks, and that's going to be a big thing for Fortnite.
Right.
Um, that would not be able to have its own game at all. So that kind of says things there. But all right, before we do our PlayStation report card, I guess we got to talk about Xbox here for a little bit, because they had their partner preview. I don't know if you watched this or not.
I just saw some of the headlines and it didn't seem uh noteworthy, let's say.
Yeah, so there wasn't anything oh my god amazing out of this. The one of the things that they announced like to kind of get you to watch it, the 007 thing was kind of like a bait and switch almost with like, oh, we announced that the Aston Martin Valhalla is going to be in the game, which I thought that was kind of crappy to be honest.
It's like,
Um
okay, I'd give
yeah.
I'd give it a shrug shoulders and go, okay, like,
Yeah, it kind of
it's like, what do you?
sucked like getting into that. Yeah.
It's like, what do you expect him to be driving a fucking Ford Pinto? Like, of course, it's gonna be some Aston Martin, whatever. Like,
Well, I mean, Jennifer English is doing the voiceover for this because I guess the main game that's supposed to be like the driver for this was Tides of Annihilation, which is like the new game that she's in. And it is kind of like almost looks like Final Fantasy 15 or so, but with like more actual action based combat.
yeah,
And the trailer that they showed for it had a like really awesome like boss battle that looked great. Um and obviously the voiceover work was really good for it as well. That was sort of like the major, I guess, big highlight, but I also like there was there's a new game from Fist, the Fist like team called Zoopunk that has the same rabbit in it, but it's based off of like years before that game, and it's more of like a action like shooter sort of with like co-op. You have like other characters that look kind
right.
of cool. Reanimal got a new trailer, and then there's a demo out on Xbox and PlayStation that you can go play. They're of course the actual developers, Tarsier Studios of Little Nightmares 1 and 2, that are now owned by Embracer. So, and that game looked awesome. I still got to play the demo. I have it downloaded, but I haven't played it yet. Dave the Diver, I had no idea it was not on Xbox, and
Yeah,
now it is.
they're like, oh, it's on Xbox. I'm like, okay, like, like I said, like, I thought I would have been
That thing has
already,
been
but
released so many times. I was like, oh wow, okay, it's actually. I had no idea it was not on Xbox. Okay, fine. And then there's a new expansion for it again. Also, this Armistice game looked kind of cool, like just like a just an action game that kind of looked like I thought they were doing oh, what is it? I can't think of the freaking game right now. But the one with the four horses of the
Darksiders.
Darksiders, yeah. It looked like it was a Darksiders game at first. And then it's
Yeah,
because it has the same, what's the guy with the hoodie? Or the
War
looks like,
or Death.
yeah. He essentially looks like him. No, the War, not because it has the same
Okay,
kind of like color palette.
yeah,
And but it's more like an action game. And I was just like, okay, all right, that looks cool. Echo Generation is getting a second game, uh, based in a different area. There's a new Vampire Survivors spinoff called Vampire Crawlers. That's like a roguelike deck builder. Hilarious that they made the joke about there's too many roguelike deck builders. So
right.
they were like, oh, we went through the whole trailer without saying it. And so yeah. They also, to go into the Xbox Game Pass announcements, they also day one launched Total Chaos, which is like a survival horror game with Silent Hill composer is doing the music, and then also Clover Pit, which is another one of those indies that has been amazing this year. Got day one launched in the Game Pass that day, and then also the big announcement for this group of games is that Marvel Cosmic Invasion is day one Game Pass on December 1st when it releases, and also that Moonlighter 2, which is only on PC by the way, but it is day one Game Pass as well. So I guess there you go where some of the price increase went. You get Marvel Cosmic Invasion day one, which is a pretty good get, honestly, for being I think it's still a $60 game. at launch. So that's that's saving you a little bit there.
Right.
If you were thinking about there's too many games to play going into the season there. Some other stuff is Crew Motorfest is coming from the Ubisoft Plus stuff. Banishers Ghost of New Eden, which I love from last year, is also going to be added into Game Pass. So there's that. Plus the Lost Records Boom and Rage, which continues the Don't Nod, keeps doing stuff with Game Pass thing.
Right.
So and also they announced that the Xbox full screen experience is available for Windows PC devices, along with the Windows like Insider people. So
yeah, I got to do some like hacking or futzing around, but it's in there.
Yeah, so that's cool for the people that want to use that with their other their non Xbox ROG Ally things.
Right.
Go ahead for your Windows device. The big announcement today is that you can now have Crocs based around the Xbox controller for $80. This goes on sale starting the 25th, tomorrow. Or you can just buy the little gibbets for $20, and they have one for Doom, Fallout, Halo, League of Legends, and a few other ones. The Halo gibbet looks cool. I would go for that. My daughter has like Crocs where she has those little thing like Hello Kitty gibbets for hers.
Right.
That's a thing, I guess. I swear Xbox just keeps doing like, they had the toaster and the fridge, and they just keep doing weird stuff.
Make a console, so they might as well make something else.
I guess so. May as well do this thing. So also really not great news for Xbox and Microsoft is that Call of Duty Black Ops 7, the sales are down in both Europe and Japan. Europe is down 63% compared to Battlefield 6, which we're going to talk about Battlefield 6 in a minute. Also like 50% down compared to Black Ops 6, which Black Ops 6 was an amazing game. And all we've heard about Black Ops 7 is that how bad it is. Especially with the co-op campaign that I talked about last week. That's like, dude, you can't even pause the thing. And if you choose not to play with people, then you're playing the whole thing by yourself. And the game was not built for that. So like you're obviously at a disadvantage. It still was the number one game in Europe, aside from how much it went down, but time will tell if it's really going to be the best-selling game of the year. Because coming off hot right now, the best-selling game of October was Battlefield 6, and Battlefield 6 sold so much that it broke the record for how many for the most sales in 3 years. That's how much Black Ops 6, which, I think the last time we thought of it, they had sold 10 million copies, which is ridiculous. Arc Raiders has also been selling really well as well. So you got that 1-2 punch between Arc Raiders and Battlefield 6. Not a lot doing, riding in Call of Duty Black Ops 7's favor. You also got Pokemon Legends CA, which was number 2, Ghost of Yotei, number 3 up there. Outer Worlds 2 did decently well at number 7. Little Nightmares 3, Digimon Time Stranger there. So good to see those games up there. But what do you make of the Call of Duty Black Ops 7? You concerned here that?
No, I think it's a consequence. I mean, they keep pumping those games out, and fatigue is going to set in eventually. I don't think, like, the way they presented the story doesn't seem great. Like, all the weird, like, hallucinatory crap.
The dream sequence stuff.
Yeah, like the red gas bullshit and like having the giant evil Michael Rooker or whatever. Uh, so if the campaign isn't great and multiplayer is just kind of the same, or
Yeah, I think the only thing people have, well, and that's weird because it depends on who you talk to. Some people are saying that zombies is really good, and some people are not. So it's like,
right.
it's like 1/3 of the game is good, but 2 of it's not. Like that's
Yeah, it's
not
like,
good, you
you have a
know.
problem when there's a whole other 2/3 of the game. So, uh, and yeah, like Battlefield's new or relatively new. Like it's been a while since they've had a good one of those. So
Yeah,
I don't think like Call of Duty's in trouble necessarily, but it occasionally will have an off year. And hey, the next one should be better. And of course, the next one's going to be like, oh, back boots on the ground again, or it's going to be another, reboot. But this one's going to be gritty and
yeah.
real.
Like what happened with was it when Infinite Warfare did terrible? Like they
Yeah,
brought that back, and it's like
right.
yeah, I don't know.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's a concept. Like, I don't think those games are bad, but it's just diminishing returns. And
Right.
it ain't like Madden or football or soccer where these are actual games.
Yeah, no, that's true. And there is a chance that it's just one of those like anomalies where okay, you had a lot of competition this year and this
Right,
game wasn't good, right? And then they come out next year, okay, let's go. We got our butts whooped. We got to make
right,
sure this is great. And then they come back and it's another Black Ops 6 and it's awesome, right?
right,
But they said this is even like what worse than like 2020 when you had Black Ops Cold War, and even that was selling better at this time compared to
right.
this. So it does go on to say, kind of prove that okay, maybe they kind of missed the boat on this one.
I mean, it's also, I mean, the other two things I would say might be a little Schadenfreude about Microsoft or Call of Duty itself. Like, people aren't happy with
Yeah.
what the company's doing, and then also like sales would be down theoretically because of Game Pass. I don't do they don't really count sales as part of that like metric.
Right, but I mean, I don't think that all of a sudden these people that have PlayStations that didn't buy it. Number 82% of the people that bought the game last
Right.
year were on PlayStation, and then also you had the people on Steam.
Yeah.
Yes, you could have had some of those Steam people just playing on Game Pass as well, but I think that means that you had a lot of these PlayStation people not buy it.
Right.
Whereas they'd already bought Battlefield 6 and they go, okay, well, I don't need to buy Call of Duty. I've got this. It's great. I've already bought Arc Raiders. I don't need that either. So, and the reviews have been bad. Like it has like
Yeah.
67. That's not great. This is supposed to be
Right.
your main go-to game, and it's in the 60s, maybe 70 at best. Like that's terrible. I mean, almost
the
every
review
other release for Xbox this year did way better than that.
the review I watched partially, the guy was talking about the single player, and he said, there's 4 people in the squad. The two main guys are boring or like completely bland. The
Right.
woman is insufferable, and then the fourth is Michael Rooker.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a great thing right now for that.
Right.
We'll talk about that next week when we do the Xbox one more at that point, but it just like aside from I think like Keeper, Call of Duty might have the worst rating of anything that Xbox had come out this year, which Xbox had a lot of stuff come out this year. And yeah, that's not good. It's supposed to be your
Right.
main money driver. It's supposed to be the main
Yeah.
reason why you
It's why you
jumped
bought the
up Game
company.
Pass.
Yeah.
It's like outside of Candy Crush, obviously, but yeah, it's yeah, just we'll have to see how far reaching this is. But man, EA might have gotten to steal some of that thunder for sure.
Right.
But all right, let's go
Oh,
into our main. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna bring up the two TV things briefly.
Oh, I was gonna bring that up because we were gonna have some. Well, if one of them's not Sony related, but go ahead.
Well, one is Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
That got a season 3,
Mhm.
which I told you about. Now I'm like incredulous by.
Yeah.
The other was today. Far Cry got announced.
Oh, okay. So they're working on Assassin's Creed and is it with Netflix?
No, Far Cry is FX.
Oh wow. Okay.
And Noah Hawley, he did Alien Earth and Fargo, and Rob Mack
Okay.
from It's
Yeah.
Always Sunny. Yeah,
Right. Owner of Wrexham. Yes.
right.
Uh.
And I mean, there were rumors that this was happening. It kind of got leaked a few weeks ago, or maybe a few months ago.
Right.
But it got confirmed today by like Variety, and it's going to be an anthology show, which is the right move.
So what? They're gonna start with Far Cry 1?
I doubt it, because Far Cry 1 doesn't have a story.
Or
I mean,
okay, so Far
pretty
Cry
much.
3
I mean,
probably.
I imagine the first season will probably be like its own thing, or like maybe Far Cry 2.
Mhm.
But then season 2 will be like Far Cry 3. Like they'll get
Yeah.
that dude, they'll get Voss back, the actor. And
Right.
hey, if he's based on him, and Michael Mando wants to work, so get him in there.
Yeah. Why not?
But yep. Sorry to derail, but I wanted to bring those 2 points up because I'm still.
No, I mean that's fine because we're gonna get into Ubisoft really quick before we go into the
Yeah.
PlayStation thing. Yeah, that's a good like segue into the Ubisoft, which at this time last week we would have been talking about. I didn't bring it up because I was like, I don't know how bad this is gonna make us look if it's nothing. And I thankfully I was right because apparently it was just an accounting thing that the reason why they hadn't reported the Ubisoft like earnings call.
Right.
And apparently Ubisoft is doing good, actually. Obviously it helps when you make this big announcement of the Vantage Studios, which takes a lot of that debt out and
Right.
moves it. But so apparently year over year Ubisoft's net bookings, which is the like online the live service stuff increased 20%. Digital revenues made up a huge chunk of that with they saw a 30% increase as well. Said that Assassin's Creed Shadows also overperformed this year.
Right.
And then also like they had outperformance driven by stronger than expected partnerships, and also the TV animated series, which Splinter Cell Death Watch is up for best adaptation, and
Which it won't win.
it won't win, no. But I mean, also they said that essentially Shadows did so well that it has produced one of the best AC games they've produced in a good few years, not counting Mirage. Ubisoft also maintained 34 million monthly active users across all their games, and 88 million active users were logged in. So, and then also, of course, they got the big money from Tencent for the Bandit Studios thing. So they also announced during this that, this is not an announcement. This is rumors that Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake is supposed to come around mid-January of next year, and that we're probably going to see the official like trailer release date reveal at the Game Awards, and then also the Black Flag remake is going to come out before March 31st, 2026. So you'll get 2 remakes from Ubisoft. By the time we get to like the middle of the beginning of next year. And then also they announced a Attack on Titan crossover with Assassin's Creed Shadows that has like both Yasuke and what's the ninja character?
Nawe
Nawe have like different outfits from Attack on Titan. I think Yahweh gets the Asuka outfit, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I still occasionally fire up Shadows to play, do like the daily quest or the weekly quest. They introduced this thing a few weeks ago called Corrupted Castles, where like the castles basically respawn and you got to go kill the generals in the castles again. It sucks.
It sucks. Oh,
because you got to find these guys. They're not like difficult to kill. I mean, I can just one shot them with like my knife. It's not a big deal. But like hunting them down is not great. And then like to complete the objective, it's like, oh, you got to liberate 3 castles. It's like, yo, this takes about an hour, and like all the other objectives are like go kill 1 guy, and that takes 2 minutes. This takes upwards of an hour. You hunting these fuckers down. It's like, and the gear you get from it is like insanely worthless. You get like purple gear, and it's like, who cares, like.
fair enough. Yeah. So I mean, that was really kind of unexpected, considering a lot of the bad news that we kind of heard with Ubisoft. That felt like a bunch of doom and gloom were waiting for people to get, laid off. And,
yeah. It just makes me dread what they're going to do with Black Flag, the remaster, the remake, because they're just going to make it some time or some like, we want you to play this game every day forever type of game.
You think so? You think they're going to get to?
Oh yeah,
to that?
Because that's what they want every game to be. Like, you can't play any other game. You must dedicate all your time to Ubisoft.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got so many games like that.
Right. But they are like especially bad. I mean, it's not like, say what you want about Square or Activision or whatever, but they don't really care.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if there was like a weekly quest in Final Fantasy VII? Like, hey, go back and kill 10,000 cactars and you'll get another cloud cosmetic. You're like, no, thank you.
Oh God, please no.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't want that happening for sure.
Right.
But all right. Also, just to go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I guess it's good that Ubisoft's making money again, or it's semi.
Yeah, like it's good that it's not all like doom and gloom for them. I'm happy for the people that work there that are doing their darndest to keep making things.
Right.
Even if we don't like the direction, everything that's going,
they got to keep making money to make the Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Right. Yeah. And just really quick, Krafton once again in the news because they just can't help themselves with this thing with Subnautica 2.
It just keeps getting funnier and funnier.
Apparently, according to new developments in the lawsuit, the former CEO has been accused of using ChatGPT to discuss takeovers in Slack messages. He created a secret task force called Project X, which he used ChatGPT to find out that the deal that he made with the unknown worlds people was a bad deal for Krafton, and one where they can only be dragged around. And then he started using it to find a way to where he didn't have to do the payout,
right,
or the earn out. And so this is when they started, doing the funny business with like, oh, we're going to delay the game and all of that stuff. And then the even more damning thing is that after they did the playtest in May, it met players' expectations, and that their internal expert ruled that 2025 was the best release time for it. And they all had it, it's supposed to come out this year. So like the only person in the entire company that said it shouldn't release is the CEO, because he didn't want to pay out money, because they found out that it might really hurt them if they had to pay out that much money to those 3 people.
I mean, basically what I said when this all kind of broke, like, Yeah, no shit. They don't want to pay out whatever $200 million or
But you know whose fault that is? You
his.
allowed that stuff to be in the contract. So,
Yeah,
like, you know, that's your fault, dude.
I said you acquired the company, and so I imagine those guys, like the unknown worlds people, they have their, if not settled, it'll be reinstated eventually, or
Yeah.
because like the CEO is operating basically in bad faith then, and that shit gets nullified real quick.
Oh, for sure.
And also, like, it's an early access game. Like most early access shit launches 80% broken anyway. Like people don't care. People are still giving money to Star Citizen.
Yeah. No, you're right about that. And it's just like, again, it's just the competency of the CEO is just,
Yeah.
But all right, we can now go into the PlayStation report card, which to set the scene here, PlayStation only had 2 major releases in this calendar year. Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, which currently sits at a 90 Open Critic and obviously is up for a bunch of different awards. And Ghost of Yote, which is not that far behind either.
Right.
Ghost of Yote has sold a bunch, 3.3 million. I don't know that we've gotten a like complete number for Death Stranding 2, but it's done pretty well on its own. Ghost of Yote
Right.
has an 87 on Open Critic. We kind of knew they weren't going to have a lot of releases because of all the turmoil with the live service stuff.
What are you talking about, man? What is it? Concord came out this year. Like,
No, that was last year.
oh, it was? Wow.
Yeah. Whenever they took it down the same day they released Astrobot. So,
okay, yeah. That was their mea culpa.
No, what
Yeah.
happened is that they had the people that were doing they tried to resurrect it.
No,
And then it got
going
taken
nuts.
down by Sony.
Right.
Because they're like, we do not want this game to be out there. What are y'all doing? Also, what are you doing that like you have nothing else better to do to try to resurrect a game that was terrible? But that's neither here nor there.
People resurrect a bunch of shit. So,
It's like,
they get obsessed with the lost media, and it's like maybe it's lost for a reason, but
right. Like I understand people, you all got refunds for it, so it's not like they owe you money or whatnot, but it's just like it's still the whole point of just like, look, they wanted the thing to be dead.
Right.
I get people were trying to like, bring it back because they felt like the game wasn't like terrible. It just whatever the reasoning was.
Right.
We all need to have a way to access every game that ever existed, kind of thing.
Yep.
But look, Sony took it down. It is what it is. So we thought about last week. They've sold 84 million PS5s to this point. The PS5 has continued to do well. They added cloud streaming to the portal. That makes it to where you can essentially use the portal now without having to have a PS5, which makes that perhaps the best deal when it comes to portable machines that there is. You still can't play it like, you're not paying anything natively. You're still having to stream it in some form, which obviously has its own problem with lag or whatever. They introduced the gaming monitor, the speakers, making hardware. They've also introduced hints at the PlayStation 6 exists.
Right. Or mentioned it, in passing.
You mentioned Twisted Metal getting us season 3 of on Peacock, which it's like one of the best season 2s that Peacock has ever had, which is crazy to think of in itself. You had the Until Dawn movie, which that did pretty terrible. I still don't know how that's being nominated for, best adaptation.
Well,
you
better
know,
that than Sonic 2 or 3.
there's a lot of people that like Sonic 3, but I think that's because that came out
I,
last
no, I'm being
year.
sarcastic. Like, fuck
Right,
Until
yeah.
Dawn. Like,
Even Twisted Metal should have been there instead of Until
right.
Dawn if you wanted a Sony thing. It just doesn't make any sense on that front. I don't know if they have another. Like, I'm sure that they have. We're not here to talk about their movies, so the only reason I brought that up is because it's gaming related.
Right.
So what would you say is, their year is still, even without having a bunch of releases, I would still say that they had a pretty good year overall, considering you had 2 critically acclaimed games, that the ones that did come out. Yeah, you had some, Sony published stuff, which Lost Soul Aside did not do well. Right. That was supposed to be, that was hyped up a lot and wound up not. Oh, you also got MLB The Show 25 as well. I'm sorry. Should have mentioned that. You get so used to like that being kind of like a de facto.
Yeah, that's why. That's why it doesn't count. Yeah.
No,
Like,
but it is. I mean, it does. It does. And you also had Celebrate release on PC, which is the highest selling Sony IP on PC. So that says a lot right there too. Right? Celeblade did well on PC. Spider-Man 2 also came out on PC. It had its problems, but eventually, they kind of fixed it.
Yeah.
Midnight Murder Club also came out, and I feel like nobody talked about it.
I never heard of it. So.
Yeah, like, and then Last of Us Part 2 Remastered also came out, and it is what it is with
Right.
that. Marathon got delayed, so that did not come out, which that continues with the whole live service woes.
Yep.
For them. What would you say? Well, if you're gonna give it a grade, I guess, for this year, what would you say for PlayStation?
I'd probably say C+.
Really? Why do you say C plus?
Maybe B-, but
Okay.
I think the lack of big games, quote unquote, like Yote came out, but I didn't hear a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah.
Even compared to like Tsushima, and then Death Stranding 2 is good, but I wouldn't consider like I'm weird. I guess I wouldn't consider like a Sony game necessarily.
I mean, technically, it's not, right? It's like second party, if you want.
Right. I mean, they funded it, but like it'll be released on Xbox eventually.
Like the only one that is technically a Sony game, like, is Ghost of Yote. Rest of them are Sony published, right?
Yeah. And so yeah, like I would say if they had like one more, not Astrobot 2, but if they had like one more AAA game this year, it would have been higher. But the fact they only had like 2 games and one of them doesn't seem that popular, or doesn't seem like that much in the zeitgeist necessarily. Like it's weird, Like,
yeah,
all their hardware stuff kind of doesn't mean a ton to me. I guess like the Portal stuff is like the most interesting, but like them making a monitor, it's like you've done that before. Like it's not.
yeah.
It's like, okay, I guess.
I mean, they used to make laptops. So.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just they're kind of trucking along, and I think like next year will also be a problem because I think Wolverine will be out next year presumably, but it's been rumored that Intergalactic won't. Like they're skipping the Game Awards.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I never felt like that was going to be a 2026 game. That always felt like it's further out than that. That whole rumor shouldn't have even started, because that came off as Colin Moriarty just talking on a podcast. That really shouldn't have been people starting up stuff with that. I do agree with you. I would give them more of a like solid, if you kind of take into account everything, right? All the successes, not just they released 2 games. When it comes to like video game related things, I would say it's still a solid B. I agree
Yeah.
with you that if they would have had like one more game, that would pop it up to an A. Obviously, they have no competition in the major
Right.
game console space because Nintendo is its own thing. Nintendo will sell what it does, but they're not a competition as far as graphics wise. There's still a lot of people that are not going to buy a Switch 2 because they can't play Call of Duty, they can't play they can play Madden and all that stuff on there, but it's not the best looking version of it. So you do have that, but the Switch 2 is its own thing. Many people buy the Switches for to play those Nintendo games.
Right. I mean, that's
You
the
know,
only reason you should buy Nintendo.
the Death Stranding 2, I think, did get a lot of hype when it came out. It got a little bit of the zeitgeist being out there.
Right.
It's interesting that we don't have the big talk of sales, but obviously it's kind of an tour game, right? And it's also a game that if you didn't play Death Stranding 1, you can't really play Death Stranding 2.
See,
Yeah,
I'm actually I'm in that, and I like Death Stranding 2 a lot more than what
yeah,
little I played of Death Stranding 1. Like I kind of gave that first
yeah,
game up after like 5 hours. So I'm like, fuck this.
yeah. I remember the fight between you and Randy about whether that
Yeah.
should be Game of the Year or not.
So like
Um,
I wouldn't say like Death Stranding 2 is like the best game of the year, but
yeah,
it's playable, and I was able to finish it. So it's worlds ahead of Death Stranding 1.
yeah, yeah. That's a good one. I do think Ghost of Yote kind of suffered in the whole oh well, we already had Ghost of Tsushima. Is this really doing anything better than Ghost of Tsushima did?
Right.
Time will tell. Neither one of us have played it yet, so we can't comment. It seems to be like, okay, it's doing everything that you would expect it to do. It's another great game from Sony, from Sucker Punch. All of that. It is selling what they wanted to sell. And maybe could be doing better technically, but it's doing so great. 3.3 million copies is not anything just to sniff at.
Right.
I think the Twisted Metal getting renewed again, I think that's got to be a great thing for Sony as far as they continue to want to push into outside media. They announced the thing with Nintendo with the Zelda.
Here's the problem, or here's the
Yeah.
problem with Twisted Metal, is they didn't say like, "Hey, we're making a game."
No, I mean,
Yeah,
well, they did have that live service game they were going to do, and
right. But
then
then it didn't come out, or it didn't happen. Like from
go ahead.
day one of Twisted Metal season 1, they should have been like, "Hey, we're making a new Twisted Metal game based on this," but nope.
It is also going to be interesting, how much Michael Jonathan Smith leaving is going to affect the show or not. So we'll see if that makes season 3 worse or or better. But hey, at least it got to season 3. There's a lot of
Right.
What was it? A Poker Face didn't get season 3.
Yeah.
From Peacock, and that thing had a lot more as far as just normal TV show watch and people hype.
Right.
Also, Sony made $1.2 billion from games being on Steam, according to Alinea Analytics. And this is after Valve gets their cut. So that is sort of working, but as they do mention, the audience that was once excited to experience these games for the first time has largely been served. Linea's head of market analysis, Reese Elliott, comments. Later releases naturally face smaller potential audiences, and our estimates clearly show this. As you kind of saw, Spider-Man 2 didn't sell as well. God of War Ragnarok didn't sell as well. The list kind of goes on with that. And I guess that kind of leads me to looking ahead to Sony. We talked about, okay, they are going to release at some point in the fall Wolverine. We know that's coming. They have doubled down on that release window. They said regardless of whatever happens with Grand Theft Auto 6, it is releasing in that window. Marvel Talking Souls is getting another beta. So that seems to be going along pretty well. That's got, a lot of the fighting game hype and everything with that. That's coming out next year as well for them. That's kind of it. If it feels like regardless of, and Marathon and Fair Games are kind of up in the air as to when they said that at some point in early 2026, Marathon's supposed to come out.
Right.
But, they also announced that they're having to that's the only other kind of negative on them is that they're having to take a loss with Bungie.
Yeah,
because
I mean, there have been kind of speculation that Sony kind of regrets buying Bungie, especially for the price.
And that was definitely a Jim Ryan play on that. As also that they kind of Hideaki Nishino points out that they also did wrong in kind of pushing aside the Japanese market.
Right.
And to the point that Nintendo essentially just rules over Japan at this point. And so Nishino, that's why they announced the Japan only PS5, although it's probably perhaps coming a little bit too late to really kind of do anything. It probably will sell decently well because, one of the major blames from Capcom and other third parties is that, the PS5 costs too much in Japan. Right.
Yeah.
So it's not moving as much the Japanese kind of games over there that would be selling much better because people just don't have PS5s because they can't afford it. So that's also a positive, right? They announced this Japanese PS5. They're trying to get more into Japan. I hope this isn't just, we care about Japan more now. I hope this means also we get more of the Sony Japan back as part of this. I know that studio's gone, but if we can get more of those kind of smaller games that are not just everything is the big third person narrative.
Well, I mean, but you want cool, I wouldn't say indie, but cool.
I want Concrete Genie again.
Right.
Something like that, or even.
I mean, that's what I've been saying for a while about all their live service crap. It's what they invest in 10 live service games when you can make 20 or even 200 smaller games that one of those will probably catch on better than Marathon. So
right, and we'll have to see if the Ratchet and Clank and the NCSoft Horizon MMO do anything.
No, they won't.
And also, I forgot Soros is coming out next year as well. Sorry.
Right, but I'd Sony made Tokyo Jungle Remastered. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would. It would be awesome.
Or even I mean, this isn't Japan. This was Europe. But if they made a new Wipeout game.
Well, but I mean, they killed that studio. So.
Yeah, but they killed a bunch of Japanese studios too. So I mean, I'm just saying, Sony's all on the AAA third-person game pretty much, and occasionally they crank out a Gran Turismo once a generation and call it a life.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. The problem is that a lot of these games we're not going to see until well into part of the PlayStation 6 generation. Right. The stuff that's not live service, because you look at what's coming down the pipeline. Sucker Punch just released Ghost of Yotei, so supposedly we don't know if they're working on something else Ratchet that's not that mobile game.
Right.
And then who knows what else they're going to do after that. They just finished, right? You got Sorrows coming out next year, Wolverine next year, Marathon maybe, most likely, but maybe. You got Fair Games, who knows? And that's kind of your 2026 lineup. And then we don't know if that Horizon, the Guerrilla Horizon game is going to come out next year or not either. But that's 3 live service things. plus the 2 other mobile-ish live service things. And then you got Sorrows, which I'm sure will be great. And then Wolverine, which I'm also sure will be great. But like, what's Santa Monica doing? Supposedly they canceled the one that's not, God of War. So, that's kind of set them back a little bit. What's Media Molecule doing? Because they're not doing Dreams anymore. You got another live service thing and the Project Gummy Bears thing, which is like a MOBA sort of. So like, we don't know what Bend is doing. They just started basically whatever project they're working on.
I mean,
so yeah,
as the console generations have gone on, you see more and more studios and developers and even game makers like whittling down what they do.
Yeah.
Like, compare the output of EA from like the PS1 to the output of EA for the PS5.
This games take longer to make.
Well, yeah, but like EA's not like a small, like they have more than one team. They're not just
right, but most of their stuff is, the sports games and Battlefield now, and
but even like Sony or look at like Microsoft and Sony, like they were coming out with a bunch of games for like the original Xbox or the PS2, and now they're not.
Yeah.
So that's a problem.
Do you think we get more news on the PlayStation 6 at some point next year?
I imagine like more concrete specs, but I wouldn't expect to see it unless it's like way like November or something,
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I would expect that. I would expect they're gonna announce they're gonna release it. It's gonna be in the fall of 2027. I feel like
right.
Or even spring 2028 or something like that. So I would say that you'll hear more, like you said, concrete specs, more perhaps like concrete, like some leaking images maybe or whatever. But I don't think we're gonna get any kind of like, maybe perhaps we'll get like, this game could be in development and it will come out for PlayStation 6. But I don't think that we're gonna get, here's what this looks like.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Especially not here's what it's gonna cost. Or we may get more of that. We might get more rumors about like, okay, this is what they're kind of angling towards or whatever. Will that rumor about the whole there is a the handheld PS6 or whatever, is that real or not? Right. I think we might get that kind of more cleared up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to be another similar year to what we got this year with Sony. Like, you're going to get the couple of games, one in the beginning, one around March, April time with Sorrows, and then you get Wolverine, and then you're kind of be waiting to see what they announce as far as like in between then, right? Relying on the third parties again. Obviously, we're going to get a lot of that at the Game Awards, like third parties that are coming in the next year. The major ones, like, is Witcher 4 going to finally come next year? Is, some of the other ones. So we'll see. But I like I said, I definitely think solid B is counting everything that's happened with Sony this year. They did have some bad news with the live service stuff, but I feel like they've recovered for the most part. It seems like they're headed in a much better direction than they were kind of like coming into this year. It feels like with Hiroki Totoki and Hideaki Nishino, they kind of are sort of trying to right the ship and understanding that, like, okay, obviously, we made a lot of money in the PS4 generation. We had a lot of franchises in the PS4 generation, but we made a lot of mistakes. And we banked too much on this live service thing. We can't just cancel all of them. So some of them had to come out also because, between, even with Destiny 2, it's actually, the player base is kind of filtering out. You still, between Destiny 2, MLB The Show, and Gran Turismo, and I don't know what other thing they consider live service for them, that's still 40% of what they earn So they can't just absolutely abandon that. So that's why you are getting the NC Soft MMO and the Ratchet and Clank mobile thing, and some of the other ones that are still in development, like the Gorilla one and all that, because they do still need to have those come out. But hopefully they have switched focus, and hopefully they push more of the Japan stuff from Sony and less of the sort of like, I guess, European American.
No, it's mainly American because like all the European stuff is pretty much gone.
Well, I mean, Herman Hulst is not. I don't think he's American, so, and you still. It feels like they have tried to start purging a lot of the Jim Ryan stuff and kind of pushing it back more towards, hey, we care about Japan. We're going to focus on that as well. We're not going to let just Nintendo push everything. We'll see how well the Zelda movie does because Sony is involved in that, which is still weird to say that Sony and Nintendo are, paired together for something. But yeah, so we'll look ahead. We'll see what lies ahead for PlayStation as far in the next year that is still coming. But speaking of what is still coming, we do have games that have released or are releasing in this week that is coming here, even though we're headed toward Thanksgiving, a time where we start to see just, okay, it's about sales and trying to make deals on what's already come out. I'm sure there's already Black Friday deals flying around out there, so beware of that. Yeah, take advantage for sure. Constance came out today. It's getting a lot of buzz. Indie Metrovania. So go check that out if that's your thing. Also $20 price tag, so not that bad. Cross Blitz also comes out today. That has its own kind of like hype behind it as well. Heavy Morning, which got shown off at the Xbox Indie thing. That's Xbox and PC, comes out tomorrow or today whenever you're listening to this, the 25th. Isla, which is like a survival horror game with a robot, also comes out on the 25th as well. Project Motor Racing comes out on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation on the 25th as well. Detective Instinct Fairmont Beloved comes to Switch and PC on the 26th. I had no idea that Mountain Blade is still having a game. Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord War Sales comes to Xbox, PC, and PS5 on the 26th. The Bubble Bobble game that's I think it's from Arc Systems work. Sugar Dungeons comes out for PS5, Switch, and PC on the 27th. Lost Ember Legendary Souls also coming as well. There's two versions of the Lost Ember. Street Racer has a collection also coming out on the 27th as well. So yeah, some neat things coming this week. Not a lot of major stuff, but yeah, still I would say that like Constance probably the thing that's got the most hype behind it coming out this week. All right, it's already come out today. And then you've got that week of December 4th where you have like a bunch of stuff between Octopath Traveler 0, Metro Prime 4, which Metro Prime 4 has kiosks so you can go play that game. You go kind of like demo the game at Best Buy, Target, and such. Walmart as well, I think. So if you're interested in that game, you want to go give it a shot, go to your local store and play it, I guess. So, but all right, until next week, hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving, and don't go too crazy on Black Friday, and we'll see you later.